Imagine waking up one day to find your world drastically changed. Would you recognize it? As we open our eyes to a new day, we are unknowingly opening them to a new climate reality, a reality where our planet's average temperature is steadily climbing. This rise in temperature, known as climate change, is not just a simple weather pattern. It's an ongoing shift that is reshaping the Earth's climate system, altering our environment and transforming life as we know it. Climate change is primarily driven by human activities. Picture the smoke billowing from factories or the exhaust fumes from millions of cars on the road. These activities burn fossil fuels like coal, oil, and gas, releasing vast amounts of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases into our atmosphere. These gases act like a blanket, trapping heat close to the Earth's surface and causing the planet to warm. But the burning of fossil fuels isn't the only culprit. Picture vast forests, often called the lungs of our planet, being cut down at an alarming rate. This deforestation not only removes the Earth's vital carbon dioxide absorbers, the trees, but when these trees are burned or rot, they also release carbon dioxide back into the atmosphere, exacerbating the warming effect. Then, there's the impact of certain agricultural practices and industrial processes. They contribute to the release of other potent greenhouse gases like methane and nitrous oxide. This isn't a story of a distant future or a tale from a science fiction novel. It's the reality of our present, a reality that is causing deserts to expand, wildfires to become more frequent, and storms to intensify. It's a reality that is forcing species to relocate or face extinction, and threatening our health, our food and water security, and our economic stability. Climate change isn't a distant possibility. It's happening here and now, reshaping the world as we know it. The question is, are we ready to face it and take action? Because the time to act, just like the melting glaciers, is swiftly slipping away. Scene script. Have you ever wondered why our planet is getting hotter? The answer lies in the greenhouse effect. Imagine our Earth nestled snugly in a blanket. This blanket, invisible though it may be, is crucial for life as we know it. It's called the atmosphere, a thin layer of gases enveloping our planet. But what happens when this blanket gets too thick? The sun showers our planet with energy. Some of this energy is reflected back into space, but some is absorbed by the Earth, warming it. This heat then radiates back towards space. Here's where our atmospheric blanket comes in. Certain gases in the atmosphere, known as greenhouse gases, trap some of this outgoing heat, preventing it from escaping into the void of space. This is the greenhouse effect, and it's the reason our planet is a comfortable place to live, rather than a frozen wasteland. However, the thickness of our atmospheric blanket is critical. Too thin, and too much heat escapes, leaving us chilly. But too thick, and too much heat is trapped, causing our planet to overheat. This is where we find ourselves today, with an overly thick blanket causing global warming. The main culprits thickening this blanket are greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide. These gases are released by human activities like burning fossil fuels, deforestation, and certain agricultural and industrial practices. The more we engage in these activities, the thicker our blanket becomes, and the hotter our planet gets. Our daily activities are turning up the Earth's thermostat, and the consequences are dire. What happens when the Earth's temperature keeps rising? It's not just about hotter summers. Imagine a world where deserts are expanding, relentlessly swallowing up fertile lands. This is not a far-off dystopian future, but a tangible reality of our warming world. As our planet heats up, we're seeing a dramatic increase in desertification, threatening livelihoods and food security for millions. But the impacts of a warmer world don't stop at expanding deserts. Picture the majestic glaciers of the Arctic, vast expanses of ice that have been around for millions of years, now melting at an unprecedented rate. This melting permafrost doesn't just mean fewer ice caps, it's releasing ancient carbon stores into the atmosphere, accelerating the warming process even further. Our changing climate is also intensifying our weather. Storms are becoming more ferocious, droughts more severe, and wildfires more frequent. These extreme weather events are not only destructive, but are also an immense strain on our economies and infrastructures. Imagine a world where countless species are forced to relocate or face extinction. As habitats change and disappear, many of Earth's creatures find themselves in a desperate race for survival. And it's not just the animal kingdom that's affected. Climate change poses a significant threat to human health, with an increase in heat-related illnesses and vector-borne diseases. Consider a world where food and water security are in jeopardy. As weather patterns shift and arable land becomes scarce, the production of food and access to clean water is becoming increasingly challenging. Imagine the socioeconomic instability that could ensue from these resource scarcities. That's the world we're facing with a warming climate. A world where every aspect of life, from the air we breathe to the food we eat, is impacted. It's a world where the challenges we face are not just environmental, but also societal, economic, and fundamentally human. Climate change is not just an environmental issue, it's a matter of survival. What if we told you that there's a point of no return with climate change, a tipping point that, once crossed, can trigger irreversible consequences? This may sound like the plot of a dystopian science fiction novel, but it's the reality we're facing today. Climate change is not just about warmer summers and milder winters. It's about reaching a critical juncture, a tipping point that could send our planet into a state of permanent, drastic change. So, what are these climate tipping points? They're thresholds in the Earth's climate system that, once surpassed, can lead to drastic and irreversible changes. Imagine a domino effect, but with our climate. One domino falls, triggering the next, and before you know it, the entire system is in freefall. The melting of the Arctic permafrost is one such tipping point. As it thaws, it releases vast amounts of methane, a potent greenhouse gas. This accelerates global warming, which in turn causes more permafrost to melt, creating a vicious cycle. Another tipping point is the loss of the world's coral reefs due to ocean acidification and warming. These reefs are not only home to countless marine species, but they also protect coastlines and help maintain the ocean's overall health. Once they're gone forever. The goal of the Paris Agreement is to limit global warming to well below 2 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. This isn't some arbitrary number. It's a global consensus on the threshold we need to stay below to avoid the most catastrophic effects of climate change. But here's the sobering truth. Even with current pledges and efforts, we are still on track for a warming of about 2.7 degrees Celsius by the end of the century. That's far beyond the 2-degree limit. It's a path that could push us past multiple tipping points, with consequences we can't fully predict. So we find ourselves at a crossroads. The choices we make now will determine whether we stay below these critical thresholds or push our planet past the tipping point. We're racing against time. The clock is ticking. You might be wondering, what can I do to make a difference? The answer is, a lot. Every one of us can wield the power of individual action to combat climate change. It starts with understanding our carbon footprint and taking steps to reduce it. This can be as simple as opting for public transportation or biking instead of driving, or as committed as installing solar panels on your home. Remember, small actions, when multiplied by millions of people, can transform the world. Consider your energy consumption. Switching to low-carbon energy sources can make a significant impact. If your energy provider offers a green energy option, why not choose it? And energy efficiency is just as important. Unplugging electronics when they're not in use, using energy-efficient appliances, and replacing incandescent light bulbs with LEDs are all ways to reduce your energy use. Our diets also play a role in climate change. The production of meat and dairy contributes significantly to greenhouse gas emissions. By reducing our consumption of these products, we can make a difference. Even choosing to have one meat-free day a week can help. And let's not forget about waste. The less waste we produce, the less energy is needed to manage it. Composting at home, recycling, or buying products with less packaging can all help reduce waste. We can also take action by supporting businesses that are committed to sustainable practices. By voting with our dollars, we can encourage more companies to take steps towards sustainability. Finally, remember that knowledge is power. Stay informed about climate change and share what you learn with others. Encourage your friends, family, and community to take action. Together, we can create a ripple effect of positive change. Every action counts. Your choices matter. But this isn't a battle we can win alone. We need to stand united as a global community. Climate change is an issue that transcends borders, cultures, and generations. It's a problem of such a colossal scale that it demands a collective response, a united front. No single country, no individual, however powerful or influential, can tackle it alone. It's a battle we all must fight together. This is where the role of governments, businesses, and international organizations becomes crucial. Governments, both at the national and local level, are instrumental in driving systemic changes. They can enact policies to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, promote renewable energy sources, and foster sustainable practices. They can also invest in climate research, develop climate-resilient infrastructure, and facilitate the transition to a low-carbon economy. Businesses, on the other hand, can be the engine of innovation in this fight. They can push the boundaries of clean technology, develop sustainable products and services, and build circular economies. They can also lead by example by reducing their own carbon footprint and by investing in sustainable practices. International organizations play the pivotal role of bringing everyone together. They facilitate dialogue, foster cooperation, and ensure that efforts are aligned and concerted. They set global goals, monitor progress, and hold parties accountable. They also provide a platform for sharing knowledge, best practices, and resources. But it's not just about these big players. Small actions, when multiplied by millions of people, can make an enormous difference. So each one of us also has a role to play. We can reduce, reuse, recycle. We can choose renewable over fossil. We can demand climate action from our leaders. We can vote with our wallets, supporting businesses that are environmentally responsible. Remember, climate change is not just an environmental issue. It's a health issue, a social issue, an economic issue. It's a matter of justice, equity, and survival. It's a battle for our future, for the future of our children, and for the future of our planet. We are all in this together, and together we are stronger. Together we can overcome. Together we can turn the tide. So, where do we go from here? The future is in our hands. These are not just words, but a rallying cry for us all as we stand on the brink of a climate crisis. The urgency to act on climate change is no longer a distant threat, but a reality that we live with every single day. We see it in the expanding deserts, feel it in the more frequent heat waves, and witness it in the wildfires that ravage our lands. But even in the face of such adversity, hope is not lost. Remember, every one of us has the power to make a difference. The first step is to educate ourselves, to understand the impact of our actions on the environment, and to learn about the ways we can reduce our carbon footprint. Knowledge is power, and in this case, it's the power to save our planet. But it doesn't stop there. Once we are armed with knowledge, it's time to pass it on. Share what you know with others. Encourage your friends, your family, your colleagues to make sustainable choices. It could be as simple as choosing to walk or bike instead of driving, or as significant as investing in renewable energy sources for your home. Every action counts. The choices we make as consumers also have a significant impact. We can choose to support businesses that prioritize sustainable practices and hold those that don't accountable. Remember, where we put our money is a powerful statement of what we value. But our responsibility doesn't end there. We must also hold our leaders accountable. They have the power to implement policies that protect our environment and promote sustainable practices. Let's use our voices to demand action. Write to your representatives, participate in peaceful protests, vote for leaders who prioritize the environment. This is our call to action. This is our moment to stand up and fight for our planet. We have the knowledge, we have the power, and we have the responsibility. Let's not wait for someone else to make the first move. Let's be the change we want to see in the world. Remember, climate change is not just an environmental issue, it's a human issue. It affects our health, our food and water security, and our economic stability. It's not just about saving the polar bears or the rainforests, it's about preserving our way of life. It's about ensuring a safe and healthy future for ourselves and for generations to come. So let's rise to the challenge. Let's make every action count. Let's work together to create a sustainable future. Because there is no planet B. There's only this beautiful, vibrant, diverse planet we call home. It's time to act. For us, for our planet, for our future.